The following is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep.
As you just heard, the Bible tells us that God is the creator of everything we know. NASA and mainstream science say otherwise, that the universe as we know it came about from a statistical anomaly called the Big Bang Theory. Most Christians and believers acknowledge the clashing of the two stances and side with the biblical account for creation. The fact that God is the creator of all is not the only thing the Bible tells us about the realm we live within. The Bible pretty clearly describes the earth as being created flat, with a dome-like barrier, or firmament, enclosing the living space of earth. The first chapter of Genesis is one of the best and most abundant places to look for evidence of this. But first, let's look at what the ancient Israelites believed the earth to look like, based on biblical accounts and knowledge. Biblical cosmology, or the belief in flat earth, as the Bible describes, is very different from what most people think of when they think flat earth, the pancake model, such as the one believed by the Flat Earth Society. The Earth, as depicted in biblical cosmology, is more like an upside-down cone. The flat living space of Earth being the flat bottom, or face, of the cone. Underneath the flat living space would be the foundations of Earth it was placed on, which contains the rock and dirt deep under the ground, as well as Sheol, or hell. The firmament is a dome-like barrier that contains the living space, skies, and atmosphere of Earth, and is a barrier between this and the waters above. The sun and moon are much smaller than our modern accepted sizes of them, and are localized and inside the firmament, high in the sky. The Genesis creation story also tells us certain properties and elements about the earth. Genesis chapter 1 verse 6 and 7 reads, "Then God said, Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. Thus God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so." Let's take a look at the word firmament. The origin of the English word firmament comes from the Latin word firmamentum, which means support, prop, or stay. The word firmament in the Bible translates from the Hebrew word rakia, which is derived from the Hebrew root rq. The root rq means to beat into shape or spread out thinly. Some translations of the Bible replace the word firmament with words such as expanse or sky, and many people, even most biblical scholars, argue that the use of the word firmament is metaphorical, or a representation of what is meant to be the sky as we know it. As you just heard, the word firmament has a clear-cut meaning, even when traced back to not only the English origins, but the origins of the word from the original language from which the scripture was translated. It is also stated that the firmament divides the waters above from the waters below, telling us that beyond the barrier that is the firmament, there is water, calling into question where outer space fits into this God-inspired account of his doings. Let's also place emphasis on the phrase, God created the heavens and the earth. Other than the heavens, heavenly beings, the earth, and the things that inhabit earth, nowhere else does Genesis, or any other book in the Bible, account for the creation of any other celestial bodies, beings, or objects. The words of the Bible were written by man, but the written words are from the divine inspiration of God. With that being said, claiming that the authors of the Bible were ignorant to the true form of the earth would be, by all accounts, an incorrect assessment. God, being the creator of all per the Bible, would know what the earth he created looks like. If the Bible is his divine word, he wouldn't have allowed an incorrect account of his creation. Keep this in mind as we take a look at a few other verses from Genesis. Let's go a little farther back in the Genesis creation story and look at verses 1 and 2. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Notice the use of the word face. Only three-dimensional objects with flat surfaces have faces. For example, a cube has 6 faces. A sphere, the shape collectively agreed upon to be the shape of the earth, does not have any faces. Jumping forward to Genesis 1 verse 14, we are told God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens, to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and seasons, and for days and years." It is specifically stated that the lights, being the sun and moon, are in the firmament, or within its bounds, implying a much smaller and localized sun and moon than generally agreed upon. The verses also tell us that these lights are for timekeeping and signs for the seasons. The moon, for example, does just that with its lunar phases. In fact, if we adopted a calendar year with 13 months, or with 28 days each, that would result in a 364-day year that perfectly aligns with and follows the moon's lunar cycles, almost as if it were designed to function in just that way. Verses 15 through 17 reiterates that the lights are in the firmament, and specifically tells of the creation of the sun, moon, and stars. Then God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. God set them in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth. The moon is explicitly referred to as a light in multiple instances. Nowhere in the scriptures does it state, or even slightly imply, that the moon's light is light reflecting from the sun. It is also mentioned that the stars are made and placed in the firmament. The placement of the stars, coupled with the statements of waters above the firmament, is what many believe to be the reason why stars shimmer, shining through or against the waters above. Genesis chapter 2 verse 1 and 2 conclude the creation story. Thus the heavens and the earth and all the host of them were finished, and on the 7th day God ended his work in which he had done, and he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had done. It is stated point blank that creation was complete and God ended his work. This contradicts what mainstream science says about the Big Bang Theory and the ever-expanding and accelerating universe that brings along the creations of new galaxies and stars. If you haven't yet noticed, the more you take a literal approach to the details in the divine words of the Bible, you'll start to see how mainstream science institutions, such as NASA, present explanations and claim facts that directly contradict and go against the way the Bible tells us our realm looks and behaves. This is why it is important, as believers, to question what man says is factual and refer to the words given to us by the one who created everything. The Bible is a guidebook full of wisdom and knowledge, meant to inform and lead, not distract or deceive. If this sounds too outlandish to be true, just read it for yourself. Stick with translations such as the King James, or even New King James, that follow the original transcriptions of the scriptures. Many more verses in Genesis, and throughout the Bible, specifically state flat earth characteristics about the earth, or heavily imply so. Read what was meant to be read and decide for yourself who you trust, the scientists of the earth, or the creator of it all. Let us know in the comments if you think the Bible describes a flat earth creation. Be sure to like this video and subscribe for more truth-seeking. Thanks for watching.